What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I gotta state my opinion. This moment was coming. I read a lot of comments ever since I did my Egos the matchup. Check that out if you haven't. Danny Garcia versus Lucas Matthysse. I've done a couple videos about this fight before it was announced, after it was announced, and I'm doing one again. And the reason being because it's a fucking awesome fight for starters. It's a fight that we all want. It's a fight that needs to happen. Arguably, the only guys left to prove who's the best at 140 are Danny Garcia and Lucas Matthysse. Everybody else is kind of out of the picture. Jose just lost to Hank Lundy, and he lost to Matthysse, so he's not really the feared mandatory that he once was. Amir Khan departed and he went to 147. Josecito Lopez also went to 147, or he went up to 154, and then he's residing at 147. It looks like Adrian Broner went past 140, and he had a fight at 147. Now it looks like they're possibly trying to make Broner versus Maidana at 147. So who knows if Broner will come back for his next fight or fight at 140 ever. I mean, that remains to be seen. Um, Mike Alvarado looks like he's fighting Ruslan Provodnikov. Plus, he's with Top Rank, so that's that. Brandon Rios moves up in weight to fight Manny Pacquiao in Macau, China. And, I mean, those were pretty much the top guys that everyone wanted to see mix it up. And they've either lost or moved up in weight. So these are the only guys that really remain and have looked good in like their last three fights or continue winning or whatever you want to call it. So it's a great fight. I want to see it. I want to read some quotes from a recent article. They did an interview with Angel Garcia, Danny Garcia's dad, and he had some interesting things to say. He says, this man is just an opponent, and on September 14th, he's still going to be an opponent, and Danny's still going to be the undefeated champion of the world. He also goes on to say, you just watch, Danny's going to be 27-0 and still undefeated champion of the world because Lucas Matthysse is going to get knocked out. If he opens up, he's going to get knocked out. If he's in there longer than 4 or 5 rounds, that'll be something. If it goes the distance, then it's going to be ugly because Danny's going to destroy him. He goes on to say, Lucas Matthysse is going to experience stage fright. He has never been in this situation in his life, and this is the biggest payday that he's ever seen in his life. People are making it seem like he's King Kong, but he ain't no King Kong. Matthysse is just an average guy who has fought a bunch of nobodies. Listen, he's going to be the easiest fight for Danny. They're trying to make him out to be a killer, but he ain't no killer. Danny's the killer, and Danny's the champion of the world. Um, he said Matthysse ain't never been punched like Danny can punch because Danny can punch too. Danny's been punched. This guy ain't been punched yet because he ain't fought nobody, man. Angel Garcia resumes the interview. He says a couple other things. Lucas Matthysse got these crazy amount of knockouts on his record, but look at who he's fought. He fought bums that they brought from the middle of the streets and put him in the ring with him. If Zab would have been in the shape he was against Danny when he fought Matthysse, he would have destroyed Matthysse, and he still beat Matthysse. We brought the best out of Zab, man. I'm telling you, Matthysse ain't nobody. Alright, so my thoughts on this. On my channel, what I do is I keep it real. It's not about favorites. Obviously, every fight fan, even though they say like, oh, I don't pick sides or I don't have favorites. Most people have favorites. There's people that you typically indulge in and like their fights more than others. But I don't let that sway my decision. There's plenty of fighters that I like. Adrian Broner, I like him as a fighter. He's a young talent. But I don't really condone like majority of the things he does outside of boxing. And I'm not even going to get into that in this video. But that's the type of person I am. I'm a realist. So even though there's people I like and I enjoy watching their fights, I can appreciate the different styles and I don't let it sway my decision making when I make my judgments. So I like Danny Garcia. I like Lucas Matthysse. That's why I really like this fight because I really like both of the fighters. If you go on my channel, there's nothing you will find that will dispute that. If anything, I've been a little bit more apprehensive of Danny Garcia in the past because when I'll be perfectly honest, when I watched Danny Garcia versus Eric Morales, longtime Eric Morales fan, and I wasn't so impressed in the very first fight. I was like, who is this kid? I mean, he came out in a gold grill. I thought he looked stupid with that. And I just wasn't supremely impressed. He didn't look that technically sound. he looked like a solid fighter, but maybe because it was his first like big fight, big marquee name like that, like a Eric Morales. Maybe he had a little bit of the jitters, but he just didn't look that great. He looked like somebody. I'm like, damn. I see this dude after he beat Morales. I was just thinking in my head, like, damn. I see this dude getting like his losing his title ASAP. He just didn't seem like he was technically sound. Um, but over time, Danny Garcia pretty much proved me wrong, and he started growing on me more and more. I'm like, damn, this dude has a chin, he has heart, and even though sometimes it looks sloppy or he looks wide with his punches, I mean, nobody's been able to infiltrate that or really just embarrass him and have him look fucked up. Amir Khan had some success early, but then he got knocked out within the third or fourth round. So I mean, who cares what Amir Khan looked like for 2 rounds if he's getting knocked out? You know what I mean? Knocked down by the third. So Danny Garcia is a fighter that really grew on me. Lucas Matthysse, I've always liked Lucas Matthysse. I thought he was underrated. I like the underdogs a lot of times. I thought he was underrated, underappreciated, and just recently he's kind of getting a little bit more and more respect. So really have admiration for both these fighters. I mean, they got heart, they got chin. Both fighters have power. It's a fight that needs to happen. I will say this: normally, Angel Garcia, a lot of things he does say is true. Like unlike Ruben Guerrero, where he was saying some crazy shit like, "Oh, we're gonna get this woman beater." Like that has nothing to do with boxing. Fuck all that. But Angel Garcia would test people and get under Zab's skin or Amir Khan's skin, but he was actually saying factual information, and the truth hurts. And I think that's why Angel Garcia is funny to me. Sometimes he goes overboard and all that, but a lot of what he says is true and can kind of be validated. Like Amir Khan, he says he don't have a chin, and Danny Garcia proved that. Khan's recent fight with Julio Diaz at a catchweight proved that. So there was some truth to what he was saying. He also said Zab's a 4 round fighter, and just like clockwork, when Danny Garcia fought Zab, Zab started looking suspect. I think after the fourth round, he looked like he was gassed, and that's when Danny started picking him apart. Luckily, Zab Judah rallied late, and in the last couple rounds, it looked like he was on the verge of being able to possibly stop Danny Garcia. But Danny weathered the storm. I will say with this interview, I don't really agree with a lot of things that Angel Garcia is saying. I'm not Danny Garcia's father, so I mean, sometimes that will sway your decision. Obviously, that's the man's son, so he wants to hold his son in the highest regard. But as far as belittling Lucas and saying like he's not a killer and he's gonna experience stage fright, I'm not quite sure about that. Lucas Matthysse, he's from nothing. He's from poverty. He's looking to make a name. So I don't really think a lot of times you get these foreign fighters and people from other areas and they don't really have the same like mindset. They're eating out of trash cans and all kinds of crazy shit and like defecting from Cuba and just different stuff like that. And they're looking for an opportunity in the land of opportunity, America, and they just want to continue getting paychecks. They want to continue doing their country proud, and for those reasons, it's a little bit different. The mentality, like when you got these fighters coming from Mexico into America, or from the Philippines, or Kazakhstan, or wherever the fuck they're from, Argentina. I think their motivation is a little bit different because they want to become a brand in America. So as far as Lucas having stage fright, I just I don't know that I've seen it. This is probably the biggest venue and the biggest platform that he's been on, being an undercard to a Floyd Mayweather fight. Not only just a Floyd Mayweather fight, but a fight with Canelo. But at the same time, the same can be said with Danny Garcia. This is the biggest stage Danny Garcia's been on. I mean, he's had sold out shows at the Barclays. He's headlined the Barclays. But now you're the undercard to a fight that has the potential to break records. So, I mean, for Angel Garcia to say Lucas is going to get stage fright because this is the biggest payday and the biggest event that Lucas has been a part of, I mean, the same can be said for Danny Garcia. And if you disagree, name one other event Danny Garcia has been to the magnitude of a Canelo and Mayweather fight. I can't really see it. I mean, those are two powerhouses in boxing. Obviously, Floyd's the highest paid athlete and the cash cow of the sport, the number one, numero uno. Um, so, I mean, the same could be said for both fighters. I will agree to the aspect of Danny Garcia again has headlined like at the Barclays and had that East Coast love, and he's seen the bright lights a little bit more. And Showtime um, did some like promo like footage of him and stuff. So he's kind of been a little bit more in the spotlight as opposed to Lucas Matthysse, but it's still a big venue for both of them. Other than that, I didn't really just agree with what Angel Garcia was saying. Like I said, I don't think this is going to be the easiest fight of Danny Garcia's career. Um, I just don't. I don't think it's going to be the easiest. It looks like on paper a very competitive fight, no matter who you score, or who you're rooting for, or who you think is going to win. I think this is going to be a really competitive fight. The one thing that I do agree with Angel Garcia on is I think Danny Garcia fought the better Zab Judah. Zab, one, he had the hometown advantage because he was at home in Brooklyn. Two, I think the tension before the fight had Zab Judah really focused and honed in. And just the timing. Zab knew if he didn't have a good showing, his career was over. Vernon Paris, that was a good look for him. But this was another title shot. And if he looked suspect or if he got knocked out, Costa Zoo shit, his career would be over. So the timing was very important. Zab was at a crossroads in his career, and with the valiant performance that he gave, I think that extended his career because nobody really looked at this as one of Zab's like ultimate failures. Like Zab wasn't supposed to lose to Carlos Baldomir, so if he had a showing like that, I think his career would be pretty much done, and everyone would write him off. But the fact that in the championship rounds he gave Danny Garcia all he can handle, and had Danny Garcia hurt, I think that gave him some more fights in the sport. But timing, location, the fact that Zab fought him in Brooklyn at the Barclay, I know that had to be a confidence builder, just having the hometown advantage. Um, Zab's also said he's been clean and hasn't been drinking and partying. He just seemed like a very focused version of Zab Judah, and I think it showed as opposed to Lucas Matthysse. But you could also argue that Lucas Matthysse fought Zab early in his professional career, so Lucas has since improved. But I do agree with Angel Garcia. I think the better version of Zab was fought by Danny Garcia based on how Zab looked and how sharp he looked and his mentality, his mindset, location, and really the tension before. Angel Garcia really got under Zab's skin, and when you get those clash of personalities and those egos, nobody wants to be the person who talks shit and couldn't back the shit up. Like Zab didn't want to be the person who said, "Oh, I'm gonna knock your son out and do all this," and he gets knocked out himself. So nobody wants to be that. Just like Amir Khan probably felt stupid after he talked his shit. After I knocked out your son, Danny. After he talked all that shit, and then he got knocked out. I mean, nobody wants to be that person. So I think Danny Garcia did fight the sharper Zab. Other than that, I don't really agree with what Angel Garcia was saying. I don't think this is an easy opponent. And I don't even think that Lucas Matthysse fought all bums. I mean, he fought Humberto Soto, who had never been stopped before, to my knowledge. And Humberto Soto is a veteran, and he was just besting Humberto Soto. I think that's a quality fighter. I wouldn't put him in on the caliber of like pound for pound top five or nothing like that. But it's a solid all around fighter who has experience. So I wouldn't consider like Humberto Soto a bum. Matthysse fought him. Matthysse fought Devin Alexander. That's definitely not a bum in my opinion. Lamont Peterson, not a bum. Lamont Peterson is a tough customer. He doesn't hit the hardest, but he could be like a tick, and he has that nagging style of fight where he just grinds and outworks and outhearts his opponents. Victor Ortiz, he fought back to a draw. He obviously gave Amir Khan problems and made it uncomfortable for Khan throughout the whole fight, especially in the later rounds, mid to late rounds. So Lamont Peterson's not a bum. I think Lucas Matthysse hasn't only fought bums. That's just my personal opinion. I think he's fought some quality people. Even people like DeMarcus Corley, even though DeMarcus wasn't necessarily in his prime per se, is still a person who's been in there with Miguel Cotto, Floyd Mayweather, Zab Judah, and the list goes on and on and on. Ruslan Provodnikov, he's been in there with those guys, Maidanas. So realistically, I think Lucas Mathisse's resume is solid. I don't think every opponent he has been bums. Um, that's just my opinion. So I don't really agree with Angel Garcia. Again, obviously he has to look out for his son's best interest, and he's gonna say what he feels. I mean, he's showed that he's a person that kind of goes off of emotion and instinct, and you know what I mean. Obviously, he's gonna talk up his son. Danny Garcia released these tweets. That's what he said. My ambition for this fight is like no other. Team Danny Swift Garcia. I'm excited to show the world why I'm the best 140-pound fighter in the world. September 14th is on. So like I said, real good fight. I'm looking forward to this fight. The fight makes sense. We're getting it while it makes sense before either fighter takes an L or does crack or anything crazy or tests positive. We're getting the fight right when it makes sense, which is awesome in the sport of boxing because sometimes it doesn't work that way. But anyway, this is a good fight. I will, however, say a lot of people are not giving Danny Garcia any credit. Although I don't agree with everything that Angel Garcia was saying, I also don't agree with the people who are treating this like it's not a 50-50 fight or something very close. To me, this is on paper, it is like a 50-50, 60-40, and it could go to whoever. I think it's that close. And that's just my personal opinion. Some people are giving Danny Garcia zero chance, like he has no hope. I really don't think that. You got to realize in the sport of boxing, styles make fights. Lamont Peterson doesn't have the type of power that I feel Lucas is going to respect, especially early. And he didn't respect it early, and he walked through Lamont Peterson's punches and got him out of there early within the first 3 rounds. That's based on Lamont Peterson's style. Now, if the fight went on, I would like Lamont Peterson's chances more to try to pull something off because he could fatigue. Lucas Matthysse could fatigue, and Peterson is a very persistent person. So Lucas did what he had to do, but that was his best opportunity to end it early, and that's what he did. But I don't think Lucas Matthysse, I know he has a chin, but I really don't think he's going to just walk through through Danny Garcia's punches with no regard like he kind of walked down Lamont Peterson. I just don't see it. I think Lamont Peterson has more sting, more pop, more crack on his punches to the point where Lucas, being a smart fighter, I consider Lucas a smart fighter, very patient. He has boxing ability. I don't see him just trying to like recklessly walk through Danny Garcia's punches once he feels Danny Garcia's power. And Danny Garcia has a high ring intelligence, whether you think so or not, whether it looks like it or not. Because a lot of times it doesn't look like it because Danny Garcia throws like wide looping punches. But he's actually, he has a lot of smarts up there, and he's been fighting for a while. He's been fighting since a kid. So I don't know why people are giving Danny Garcia like absolutely no chance. But I don't see it like that. I don't see Lucas Matthysse necessarily just walking him down with no regard like he did Lamont Peterson. Lamont Peterson, he probably felt the power and he's like, oh, this can't hurt me. And he did what he had to do. Mike Dallas Jr., same thing. I mean, Mike Dallas was the last minute replacement. He had no chance. Listen to my prediction video. He had no chance on earth. I knew that going in. Hank Lundy has a better chance than Mike Dallas Jr., but he had to pull out of the fight. And I still would have favored Lucas Matthysse in the Hank Lundy fight, but it would have been, I think, more competitive than Mike Dallas Jr. I don't think Hank Lundy would have necessarily got knocked out in the first round. So Lucas Matthysse, he's a KO machine. He has knockout power. He has boxing skill. He has heart. He has chin. I agree. But people need to give Danny Garcia some level of props and understand styles make fights. It's what you got up top, not always power punching and that ability. And Danny Garcia looks pretty conditioned, like he stays in shape. And Danny Garcia is big for the 140-pound division. Like, I don't know if you looked at him in the Zab Judah fight, his last fight, but the dude looks big. It looks like a couple more fights and he'll have outgrown the 140-pound division. That's just from what my eyes tell me. He looks big. I see him at the fights when he's not fighting, like in the Showtime audience, and he looks big, like for his weight division. The way he fills up his like sweater, he wear a tight sweater or something, and you can see. I mean, the dude looks pretty big, so you got to take all that into consideration: reach, height, actual weight on fight night, smarts, ring IQ, punching power. And like I said, Danny Garcia does have pop too, to the point where I think Lucas has no choice but to respect him. But again, Lucas could catch him. It's a good fight, man. That's all I can say. I'll do an actual prediction sometime. But for now, check out my matchup. It's a little series that I do. Hope you guys like it. Leave comments on this video. Let me know what you think. That's really all I got to say. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video's Ego. Signing off.